Yunnan Cheng was discharged from the hospital. There was a hint of coldness between his eyebrows as if he was still thinking about what happened during the day. In front of the hospital, Gao Yawen hadn't left yet. Is Zhuxi asleep? Yunnan Cheng nodded, glanced at the time, and said lightly, "It's too late, you should go back too." "It's okay, my driver is waiting next to you." Gao Yawen glanced at Zhuxi sleeping on Yunnan Cheng's lap. "I know you have no plans to get married, but Zhuxi needs someone to take care of him nearby. What Grandpa said makes sense." "Getting married?" Yunnan Cheng glanced at her and seemed to be really considering the proposal. "Just call me if you have any problem. Zhuxi and I are quite close." After Yunnan Cheng left, Gao Yawen got into the nanny car. "Drive!" Gao Yawen had a sinister look on her face. The car drove out of the hospital area and the driver's anxious voice sounded in the car. "Sister Wen, there was nothing wrong with the situation, but who knew a hotel manager would show up? It doesn't matter." Gao Yawen had a sinister look on her face. "If he is really killed, it will be difficult to deal with the situation. It is best to let Nancheng feel a little scared. This way, he will really consider getting married." Gao Yawen looked down at the sparkling diamond nails on her fingers with a nonchalant look. "That child. Don't move for now. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. I'm going to go around the hotel more these 2 days. Tell the new assistant to prepare some things the kids will like so I can bring them over." Hospital, Ward B02. Sheng Anran woke up in severe pain. She moved her numb arm slightly in her dream but felt a piercing pain. She was sweating profusely on the spot and opened her eyes. When I opened my eyes, I saw pure white. "Mommy, you're awake!" A familiar childish voice came from her ears. Sheng Anran was stunned for a moment and tried hard to recall. Then she remembered that she was injured because she saved someone. As for this place, it should be the hospital. But why is my daughter here? Xing, why are you here? How long have I slept? Mommy, you haven't come home yet. I was worried about you. Later, the uncle and aunt from your hotel brought me here. Don't move. The doctor said you can only be discharged the day after tomorrow. Hearing this, Sheng Anran felt touched and apologetic. "Sorry, baby. Mommy made you worry." Xing pouted angrily. "Mommy knows I will be worried, so why are you rushing forward in such a dangerous situation? What if you get hit on the head?" Sheng Anran was originally quite moved, but when she heard the last sentence, her throat choked up and she stared speechlessly at this heartless little girl. As they were talking, there was a knock on the door. "Come in!" Sheng Anran cast a puzzled look towards the door. "Manager Sheng, this was prepared by our President Yu. Thank you for saving our young master." The guest was President Yu's assistant. Sheng Anran remembered that she had always been by the man's side. At this moment, he walked in with 2 large bags of nutritional supplements and a respectful look on his face. "Mr. Yu, young master?" Hearing this, Sheng Anran frowned slightly. "The CEO of Shengtang Hotel is Yunnan Cheng. You said that little guy is Yunnan Cheng's son?" "Yes, Manager Sheng is the young master's benefactor. If you need anything, just tell me. I won't bother you for now." Sheng Anran was a little confused. That child turned out to be Yunnan Cheng's son. With such a big family business and so much money, why is it that the son is a mute? This feeling of having everything but being powerless towards the person closest to you suddenly aroused some sympathy in Sheng Anran's heart. She was secretly feeling sorry for Yunnan Cheng, but Sheng Xiaoxing beside her had a different idea. "Mr. Yu? That sounds awesome! He might be a good father, too." She rested her chin on her hand and looked at the pile of expensive nutritional supplements on the table. She thought to herself, the company Mommy joined is a very powerful company, so Mommy's boss must be very rich. This is going to make a lot of money. A few days later, corner coffee shop. Sheng Xiaoxing often goes out to buy things by herself, and she is very smart. Sheng Anran is not worried about her and just lets her do what she wants. After going downstairs, little Sheng Xiaoxing did go to the place to buy ice cream, taking quick steps and looking extremely cheerful. At the entrance of the cafe, a bell rang at the door. At first glance, there was no one in sight. When they lowered their heads, they saw a little girl with a little yellow duck backpack skipping in. She looked around at first, and then her eyes fell on an old man and a servant by the window. He was wearing a black tai chi suit, and a man who looked like a servant beside him followed closely. "It's over there!" When she saw the old man behind the ice cream, she was stunned for a moment. This grandpa has white hair, but his eyes and eyebrows are a bit like Uncle Yu. Could he be that uncle's relative? After hesitating for a while, she finally walked over. "Grandpa Yu! Hello, Grandpa Yu! We have been chatting online for a long time, and I finally meet you." A babyish voice came from the edge of the table. Sheng Xiaoxing looked at him. Her big eyes were particularly clear and rolling around as if her head was full of little ideas. The old man was getting impatient waiting, but when he saw the person coming, he was stunned for a moment. Whose little baby is this? She looks so pretty and familiar. The old man was a little confused by the little girl's baby voice, and his tone softened unconsciously. "Come sit down and have some ice cream." "Wow, ice cream! Thanks, Grandpa." Sheng Xiaoxing breathed a sigh of relief, climbed up to the seat opposite with both hands, sat down. "I thought I could meet Uncle Yu today, but he never came out to find a partner. No wonder he is still single. He is busy too. Isn't your mother coming too?" "Yes, we can only rely on creating opportunities for them." The old man was stunned for a second, then laughed out loud. "What ideas do you have? Believe that they are destined to be together. They will definitely be together." Sheng Xiaoxing looked at him seriously. "How long do we have to wait? It depends on me." After the two reached a consensus, they talked about the living habits of the two parties. Yu Nancheng was naturally a calm person, but Sheng Anran had many interesting stories. From Sheng Xiaoxing, she heard that the old man was inexplicably looking forward to this woman. The housekeeper was a little puzzled. "Sir, considering the conditions of the young master, wouldn't it be unfair for him to find a single mother? If you are not satisfied, go find someone else. I like her anyway. Girls nowadays are all spoiled. Do you expect them to take care of Zhuxi?" The old man glanced at the butler, seeming to be very disgusted with the butler's prejudice. The housekeeper was enlightened by this and immediately understood. That's right. The old man's main concern is to find a stepmother for the young master. Finding a wife for the young master is secondary. Xing is a cheerful and clever child and must have been well educated. If Nancheng had met such a person earlier, our Zhuxi might not have gotten into trouble 3 years ago. A long sigh from the old man was heard in the carriage, and he seemed very regretful. The housekeeper consoled him. "Sir, this is not your fault. Don't blame yourself. The young master doesn't blame you either." The old man had a complicated look on his face, and his voice was a little hoarse. "If he didn't blame me, he wouldn't have taken Zhuxi away and kept her by his side." Because it was Monday, there were not many people in the Japanese restaurant. After arriving, the waiter arranged a quiet seat for them, next to the window, from which they could overlook the hustle and bustle of the city center. After ordering the dishes, the mother and daughter stared at each other in a daze. "Mommy, I actually think you can go to work. Why, can't I take a 2-day break? This kind of opportunity to get paid for nothing doesn't come around every day. Let's wait and see after this week." "Mommy, you have to seize the opportunity." "What opportunity?" "Your boss, he is handsome, rich, and single. There must be many people chasing him. If you don't work harder, what will I do in the future?" "What are you talking about, kid?" Sheng Anran stared at her and pinched her nose fiercely. "You haven't met my boss. How do you know he's handsome?" Sheng Xiaoxing was dodging Sheng Anran's attack when suddenly her eyes lit up. She jumped up from the chair and waved desperately at the distance. "Uncle, here, here." "What uncle?" Sheng Anran looked into the distance suspiciously, and the moment she saw the person coming, her smile froze at the corner of her mouth. "Is it him? What's going on?" At the entrance of the Japanese restaurant, a tall figure was holding a little boy. One was big and the other was small. Both had a cold temperament. Their two handsome faces, which were carved from the same mold, seemed to have the words, "Keep away," written on them. At this moment, they looked towards her direction, following the sound. Who else could it be but Yu Nancheng and his bad-tempered young master? She jumped up from the chair and waved desperately at the distance. "Uncle, here, here." Damn it, she had just recovered from her injury and was taking a rare break to go out for a walk, but how come he saw her? More importantly, why did Xiao Xingxing know him? When Yu Nancheng heard someone calling him uncle, he looked around subconsciously. When he saw the little girl waving at him, he was stunned for a moment and felt that she looked very familiar. While he was distracted, Yu Jingxi had already broken free from his hand and rushed out. he had no choice but to keep up. The little girl approached him, blinking her big black pearl-like eyes at Yunnan-chung. Yunnan-chung thought for a moment. Then he connected the reckless little girl who bumped into him at the airport with the little girl in front of him, and his expression softened a little. It's the kid in the hotel suite before... Sheng Anran was covering her face when she suddenly felt her calves tighten. She lowered her head and saw a pair of big black eyes. The little boy was holding one of her legs, looking ecstatic. Sheng Xiaoxing turned around and explained to Sheng Anran, her eyes full of stars. It was this uncle who gave me chocolate at the airport that day, Mommy. Hearing this, Sheng Anran's face stiffened a little. Sheng Anran glared at her. This child, that's my boss. Is this your child? Hearing the answer, Yunnan Cheng felt a bit of an indescribable feeling in his heart. She was actually married and had children. He then casually changed the subject. Thank you for Zhuxi's matter. I was thinking of bringing Zhuxi to visit you to thank you when I have time. No need, no need. Sheng Anran shook her head hurriedly. Anyway, you've given me a day off, so I'll take it as a thank you. Besides, it's also my responsibility to ensure the safety of our guests. Taking a vacation is one thing, but don't forget our bet. Yunnan Cheng glimpsed Sheng Xiaoxing at the side from the corner of his eye, and his expression suddenly deepened. I know, you don't need to remind me. Hearing this, Sheng Anran's face changed. What do you mean there is no plan to delay for 3 months? Then isn't the vacation she is taking now equivalent to wasting her time? She just had a little bit of good feelings towards Yunnan Cheng, but now it has all disappeared. This man is really good at making things difficult for others. Before Sheng Anran could come to his senses, Yunnan Cheng waved at Yu Jingxi. I won't disturb you today. Jingxi, let's go. Yu Jingxi, however, hugged Sheng Anran's arm tightly as if he was facing a great enemy, as if he was facing an enemy. Jingxi! Yunnan Cheng frowned, seeing the stubborn look on the little guy's face, which was exactly the same as Yunnan Cheng's face standing opposite her. The stalemate continued, and Sheng Anran tried to smooth things over. Now that you're here, if you don't mind, just sit here. It seats 4 anyway. Seeing the stubborn expression on his son's face, Yunnan Cheng sighed. He could only give in. The store was not busy, so the clerk directly arranged a spacious seat for her. Unexpectedly, it would come in handy at this moment. Seeing that Yu Jingxi had no intention of leaving, Yunnan Cheng had to sit down, but his frustrated look was a little depressed, which was particularly funny in Sheng Anran's eyes. Yunnan Cheng, the president of Shengtang Group, actually has a weakness. Sheng Xiaoxing wished Yunnan Cheng was here, so she pulled out a chair attentively. Uncle Yu, please sit down. I'll go get some fruit. When she was about to leave, she looked at Yu Jingxi again and invited him sincerely. Brother, I'm going to get some fruit. Do you want to come with me? Seeing Sheng Xiaoxing's cheerful, bright, and likable appearance, Yu Jingxi hesitated for a moment, let go of Sheng Anran's hand, and followed her. He wanted to get along well with Aunt Sheng's daughter. Yunnan Cheng was very surprised. Jingxi is actually willing to get along with this little girl? His beloved son has always had a bad temper and has no friends among his peers. He has tried to get the children of his friends in the circle to get along with him, but he refused to pay attention to any of them. The mild autism has always been a thorn in his side. Your daughter is very lively, Sheng Anran smiled. Xing? She is a little clever, but she gets along well with people of her age. Mr. Yu, you don't have to worry. Yunnan Cheng wanted to explain that he was not worried about this, but he gave up. The atmosphere was relaxed. After chatting for a while, Sheng Anran felt that Yunnan Cheng was not as arrogant as usual in the company. She chatted casually. Thinking of Jingxi's temper before, she asked casually, by the way, is Jingxi's inability to speak congenital? Hearing this, Yunnan Cheng's originally calm expression suddenly darkened a bit, and his eyes suddenly turned from the children's area to Sheng Anran with a bit of chill in his vigilance. Sorry. Sheng Anran was panicked by his stare and immediately realized that she had crossed the line and hurriedly explained. I just asked casually, I didn't mean anything else. The atmosphere suddenly became cold. Because of these words, Yunnan Cheng looked at the children's area in the distance in a daze. Jingxi's inability to speak is not a congenital disease. When he was 2 years old, he could already speak complete sentences and was smarter than many children of the same age. If he had not been neglected at that time, he would have had a high fever and almost died, and he would not be in the situation today. I don't know how many doctors I have seen over the years, and they all came to the same conclusion. There was no damage to the child's vocal cords, he just didn't want to speak. In the final analysis, Zhuxi has autism. Oh, you stupid mouth, that's too presumptuous. Hearing this, Sheng Anran clenched her fingers under the table awkwardly, looking embarrassed. Rather than feeling embarrassed, she was more annoyed that she had asked too many questions. It was not something that one could ask casually about the fact that their child was disabled, not to mention that Yunancheng was such a proud person. Yunancheng came back to his senses and saw that she looked uneasy. He also realized that his attitude just now might be a bit stiff. Thinking of the fact that she had saved Zhuxi before, he softened his tone and explained, "Zhuxi is not unable to speak, he just doesn't like to talk." Sheng Anran nodded and asked no more questions. On the other side, Yu Jingxi and Sheng Xiaoxing returned. "Mommy, we are back!" The two children came back with the fruits. While eating, Sheng Xiaoxing and Yu Jingxi had very similar tastes. They both loved sweets. After the last dessert came, Sheng Xiaoxing ate with joy, while Yu Jingxi ate silently, but judging from the clean dessert plate, he was also quite satisfied. During the meal, Yu Jingxi insisted on sitting next to Sheng Anran. No matter how Yunancheng warned him, it was useless. Fortunately, Sheng Xiaoxing was generous and climbed directly to the side of Yunancheng, saying in a baby voice, "The little brother likes my mommy so much, so let him sit next to mommy and I will sit here with uncle." Seeing that Sheng Anran had no intention of being disgusted, Yunancheng had no choice but to let him go. Looking at the lovely girl beside him, he inexplicably felt that he had a liking for her. "His name is Jingxi." Sheng Xiaoxing nodded obediently and suddenly asked as if she had thought of something. "Then I will call you Brother Jingxi. By the way, how old is Brother Jingxi? What if he is younger than me?" "Jingxi is 5 years old and his birthday is the day before the Mid-Autumn Festival. And you?" "I am, Seeing Yunancheng asking back, Sheng Xiaoxing scratched her head and looked at Sheng Anran for help. She really couldn't remember her birthday. After all, she was only a 5-year-old child. Hearing this, Sheng Anran's expression froze for a moment. Xing, September 14th! For some unknown reason, Sheng Anran accidentally shortened Sheng Xiaoxing's birthday by 1 month. What a coincidence! Jingxi and Xing have the same birthday? It was such a coincidence that the day before the Mid-Autumn Festival was Xiaoxing's birthday.